I want to bring to the forefront this issue on fatherhood. I think it's very important to have fathers not only in the family but also in the community. And fatherhood is really related to manhood. I see my story with my father. Even though I had a father in the household, he wasn't really a spiritual father. So I remember a time when I was 6 and my next door neighbor took my stuff, and I came to my father, seeking his protection, seeking his wisdom, crying as a 6-year-old, and my father whooped me, beat me. He told me, son, don't ever come back in here and cry to me and tell me that somebody took your stuff. You go back out there and get it. So I remember at 6 years old, running back outside and, tackling this kid and taking my stuff back. So it birthed something in me. It birthed anger. It birthed this fighter spirit in me. And today it's like when I turn 18, I can't really be a fighter, or you get in trouble with the law. I can't handle myself always in emotion. I gotta, be an example. So from the time I was 6, there was times when, you no longer play house. You no longer play with dolls. You no longer play with the toys, and I got thrown into sports. So it was always sports and school, sports, school. So fast forward high school. Now it's sports, school, girls. Now I'm always busy. Get to college, playing basketball in college, school, girls, basketball. That was my life. Then after college, my life slowed down, Now I went to the church. Now they telling me that I shouldn't be this, I shouldn't be that, and I should find a girl and be willing to show my emotions, but my emotions were stripped from me from the time I was 6. So the important thing, why am I telling the story? Because my father instilled something negative in me when I was 6 years old. And there's many other stories, there's many other kids who don't have fathers, who look to the streets, for example. They look to rappers, for example, or whoever they look to, because they want somebody to lead them. They want somebody to make them feel good. They want somebody to give them a hug. They want that. And so the issue on fatherhood is this. If there's a problem with the nation, you got to look to the community. If there's a problem in the community, you got to look to the family. And if there's a problem in the family, you got to look to the fathers. And if the fathers are not there, or the fathers are not walking in manhood, the whole nation suffers. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I see with this thing called fatherhood. A father's purpose is to instill in their kid destiny, purpose, identity, and their history. And if a father's not there, a kid can never know that purpose, who their identity is. I got my own fingerprint, so I was created just to be me. I was created to do my own thing. I am my father's child, but I am not my father's choices.
Well, growing up without my father, as I got older, immediately I realized the difference between a patriarch and a matriarch. My mother sacrificed greatly for our lives, me and my brother, as sons. And as I got older, I started missing that male image in my life. And I began to learn about that my mother could only mother me, where I needed a father in my life, not to take anything away from her. And as I got older, of course, wanting to be married and getting married and having 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls, I began to learn about the office of a male, of a man. He has the ability to walk in 3 different offices, and that one would be as a man, in manhood, husbandhood, and fatherhood. And hopefully they're in that order. To be a father, hopefully, that I've married, and which deals with my husbandhood. I found out also, as my father died when I was 6 years old, that I was stagnant in a lot of areas of my life as far as being, learning what a father is to be, because now I'm married and I have these children that I'm rearing, and the purpose of it is to, especially my sons, 2 sons and 2 daughters, and you learn the beauty of what the male like I was saying, what my mother dealt with being more feminine, but then I had to learn about being male was masculinity, and I wanted to be a perfect man before my children, sons and daughters, and I also wanted them to see the relationship between me and my wife, which would show my husbandry to my wife, and it would show her wifehood to me. But then there's that relationship that I have with them apart from my wife, which is me being a father to them. And I find it very interesting today that even learning, even pertaining to the Word of God, dealing with when Jesus spoke about John the Baptist, that his ministry was to turn the hearts of the fathers back to the children, and the children's hearts back to the Father. And that's a vacancy that's been in the earth with males, for many generations now. And we see the plight, we see the destructive means of what it's causing in the earth today, with all these gangs and all these kids, both male and female, who have no direction and are searching for their own identity. Again, a lot is learned when you read the Word of God and have a true relationship with the Lord, is that He shows the relationship between the Father and the Son. And Jesus, He only spoke of one person. He never brought attention to Himself. At times He said, I must do what I see my Father doing. I must be about my Father's business. I can only do the will of Him who sent me, my Father. My meat is to do the will of Him who sent me, His Father. It's all this about the Father. As a matter of fact, the disciples got to a point where they said, show us the Father. And so, pertaining to the Godhead, in a sense, that Jesus said, when you see me, you see the Father. And it's that oneness. And so the importance of Father is the sonship as well. That I want my sons, and of course my daughters as well, as a father, to exceed me in life. I want to lay a foundation in their lives so they can build upon to exceed me in life, as they hopefully that their sons and daughters exceed them in life. And it's an easy course, but it can only happen as the Lord allows it to. And for me, it takes a relationship with the Lord to do it, and it's a relationship with Christ.
And the first 18 years of my life, I grew up pretty much without Him, basically. And so it go like this. I didn't feel like His presence until I was in high school, when it was obvious, when I need a male presence in my life. It became harder and harder because my mom, she only provided me one set of energy, femininity energy. So I was like the father energy. But I can recall most of the part, he's always somebody step up to kind of fill the missing part. But it wasn't quite the same as the father himself. So it was really tough for me, and I kind of adapt to the situation. I trying to find my identity throughout my life, doing things that just to make me feel like I was manly, go trying to prove myself to others, just to make feel like, hey, I am the man also. So that was the consequence, not having Him to kind of give me the foundation and say, hey, you don't have to prove anybody that you are a man, you are a man. So for me, that was the things I had to go through to kind of fill the blank and to have everything checked out. Say, I'm a man, I did this, I did that, I did that. So that's pretty much the consequences of Him not being there. And when I was most vulnerable, I was in my early age. So at one point, knowing that my dad was somewhere, and it was something that I needed. I needed to see him. I need to meet him. I need to know who he is. And I knew through my uncle. They tell him story who he was, everything, but it wasn't authentic. It was somebody else's story. I want to have my own story about my dad. And my mom always paid, of course, my mom always played a big part of, she didn't like the way my father left. So she has been like the roadblock not to get access to him. And I always trying to get around the roadblock, but I understand it emotional standpoint because it was harsh for her to kind of let him go that way. So, and for me, it was become like I had a sense of urgency. I want to see him. I want to meet him. I want to know who he is. I want to have my own story for my dad and know he was somewhere out there. And I first met my dad in Chicago. It's quite an amazing story. It's at the airport. The first time I see him in flesh, it's quite unreal for me. I heard the story. And the question I asked him was why all this time, like why the world, I know the world is so small and big, but why you let this time go by like this without even get the effort to meet one another? Well, he had his explanation also, but it was kind of changed the course of my life and just kind of find the part of me that wasn't there. So it's kind of fulfilling in some sort of, just seeing him and know he was there and that he cared to some extent. It was kind of a changing experience for me.